3 photographers have made it to the finale. Each of them has already proven they can capture powerful images under pressure. But tonight, everything comes down to 2 challenges. And by the end of the night, 1 photographer will walk away as the winner of the frame.
If you had 5 minutes to capture a feeling, what would your frame look like?
Making it to the finale is just a great experience. I don't really know if I thought I would make it here, so I'm just kind of trying to enjoy the ride.
I feel confident, but either way, if I win or lose, this was a great experience. Kind of sad that we get done with this project, but I'm still looking forward to, because I made a good friend out of it. So
I've learned a lot on my journey. And it also means that I'm putting myself out there and learning something new in an element.
Before we reach the final challenge, 1 photographer will be eliminated. But first round is all about technical skill, and the judges will focus on 3 key elements. First, contrast. How well the photographer uses light and shadow on the image. Second is depth. How the photographer uses the space in the frame to create layers and dimension. And third is composition, how intentionally the subject is framed within the image. After the challenge, 1 photographer will be eliminated, and the 2 photographers who show the strongest control over the 3 elements will move forward. For this challenge, each photographer will receive the same subject and instructions individually. They will enter 1 at a time with no prior knowledge of the subject. Once inside, they have 3 minutes to capture their image. The first photographer is Nicole. The second photographer is Karina. Our third photographer is Braylee. For this challenge, the subject you'll be working with is... You may move the subject anywhere inside this lounge. You're free to use the lighting, space, and environment however you choose. You'll have 3 minutes to capture 1 image that shows strong contrast, depth, and composition. This round is all about how you control the 3 elements. For this challenge, no editing will be allowed. You have 3 minutes, and your time starts now.
I'm pretty sure I made a face, but I like the concept because of the camera. But I was like, what do I do?
I didn't know what I was going to do with it. So my mind kind of went blank when I saw it, to be honest.
My mind went blank. I didn't know what I was going to do, but I figured it out.
Welcome to our first judging tonight. This is where the 3 images are revealed and where 1 photographer will be eliminated. Joining us today are 3 judges, each bringing a focused perspective as the margin for error gets smaller. Together, they'll discuss which 2 images best capture the 3 elements: contrast, depth, and composition, and come together with a unanimous decision on who will move on. Our first judge tonight is Mateus, returning to the frame with a sharp technical eye and years of experience behind the lens. He understands that at this stage, every detail matters. Repeating as a judge, we have Denver, an actor and storyteller. He brings a fresh perspective, focusing on emotional and connection, while still holding each frame to the level of skill this round demands. Our third judge is Valerie, An actor originally from Kansas City with over 15 years of experience in the industry, she brings an artistry-trained eye for lighting, composition, and visual storytelling.
One thing I learned is like always look at everything to like, oh, can I take a picture of this? Can I take a picture of that? So that's one thing I learned for sure. But I think that will be a little bit more aware of certain things. So
I'm always nervous, but I think I have to find the confidence within myself to know that I could do it. And so I feel pretty nervous but confident.
I feel confident in the fact of I'm confident in my own skills and where I am as a photographer. I'm nervous because I know that there are other photographers are very talented, and I know that they're probably confident as well.
Now it's time for images. Image 1 was captured by Nicole. Nicole, can you tell us about your image?
So with my image, it's kind of a play on showbiz, kind of with the depth, with the popcorn in the background and the camera in the front. But yeah, that's where I was going with that one.
Thank you so much. Our second image was captured by Karina. Can you tell us about your image?
I really didn't have a direction going into it. I just know that when I have light, I have almost everything I need when I'm editing. So I just tried to get as much contrast and light as I could into the picture.
Thank you so much. And our third frame is captured by Braylee. Could you tell us about your image?
so I was still going with a cinematic look. Tried to get some lighting from the front and back to get some contrast in it, and still get some depth in the background where the movies were at and everything. So, yeah.
Thank you so much. Before we begin the discussion, I'm going to ask the photographers to step out. Thank you so much. Judges, you've now seen all 3 images. Please discuss what 2 images fit best for the 3 elements and share your decision with me.
I like the first one that Nicole did the best, I think, because of the way that the lines in the background and the foreground, how they always lead back to the subject. So the subject's very clear. The composition is really nice. And the contrast is good too, because the camera, even though it's the subject, the foreground is a little bit darker and then the background's lighter. So it's like you kind of backlighting the subject.
I agree with that. I think it's impressive that they did that without any editing.
Yeah.
It's impressive.
Absolutely.
I really like the second image, and the contrast in the colors. Again, to be able to take a picture like that with no editing is very impressive to me.
Yeah, the contrast is really good because you got the dense shadows beneath the camera and then all the light on top and behind too.
Yeah, the fall off shadow off of the camera is really nice, and the almost like rainbow iridescent look of the colors with no editing is, like you said, it's a really good touch to that picture.
It's awesome how she did that. What about Braylee's photo?
I do like the high contrast. I think that she nailed that aspect of the competition with this one. And I like the composition of it as well, with the lights running in the background and like we've got the sign in the foreground and then our subject in the middle. It's just I wish that the subject was lit better so that we were more clear on what it is.
I think that one does a really good job at a 3-layer depth, where the other 2 are more 2-layer depth, because it has that foreground and it has the subject and then it has a background all in the same area there. I do think that perhaps, like as mentioned before, if we hadn't known what they were shooting or what the primary subject was, it would be a little difficult to know what that is because it's not really lit too well. Something I kind of noticed is if they would have perhaps used like a drop lighting on the camera or lighting from under the camera and lit that up just enough to maybe even give it like a shadow on half of it, that would have been, a great addition to that photo, where like you see those backlights back there, maybe like something falling in from the top as a fill light would have been nice. But like I said, it is the only image using 3 sources of depth in the same photo.
Each of you frame this moment in your own way, but tonight, only 2 frames will move forward. The first photographer moving on is Karina. The photographer joining Karina in the final challenge is Nicole. Braylee, unfortunately, you've been eliminated from the frame. Thank you for what you brought to this competition.
I had a great experience. So I'm not gonna feel nothing like sad about it, but I definitely did learn from a lot from this experience, and yeah, it was fun.
I think that your image was, I pointed out that it was the only image out of the 3 that included 3 sources of depth. It had the front depth, it had the main subject, and it also had the background depth, where the other 2 were more primarily based on 2 depths, which would mean like the main subject in focus, and then they have the background out of focus, where you had that light coming in the front, and then you had the subject, and then you had also the background that was a little bit out of focus. So we did notice that, and we did enjoy that. But as she said, if we wouldn't had known it was a camera, it would have been hard to tell what it was without knowing that.
Thank you, judges. And now, the final challenge begins. 2 photographers remain. They've proven their skill, and they've earned their place here. And now, it comes down to 1 final frame. Here's how the final challenge works. Both photographers will be given a concept. They'll have 10 minutes to capture 1 image they believe represents that concept, and after that, they get 30 minutes to edit. The images will be judged not only on what's being photographed, but also on how they choose to frame it. Photographers, for your final challenge, the concept is simple. Something that's framed within the frame. Find a subject and frame it within something you discover in the world around you. The image will be judged not only on being photographed, but mainly on how you choose to frame it. If it comes down to it, the judges may look at how well you use contrast, depth, and composition within your frame. You have 10 minutes to capture the frame, and your time starts now.
I'm not gonna lie, a lot of things went through my mind. Whenever actually the concept was being explained, there was a flag that was behind me that the waterfall actually did frame pretty well. And I initially thought that that's what my shot was gonna be, but I actually, again, with my million thoughts that went through my head, went a completely different route.
And then the flag.
Heck yeah.
Thanks.
It's a good day to do it.
It is. It is.
That's exactly what I was at.
Okay. We shall see.
I think it gave me a lot of time to go right back where I started. I wanted to shoot in Spivo Park, but I just also wanted to give myself some time to move through that area and see if that's what I really wanted. But I ended up using one picture that I took at the park.
The 10-minute time frame gave me enough time to plan out what my next steps were going to be. However, I did get stopped for like 3 minutes at a red light, so that kind of took up a lot of my time.
This light makes me nervous though. I'm about to be rerouting probably.
Come on, come on, come on.
I know.
I always look for things that scream my aesthetic. So this frame, one, does scream color scheme-wise my aesthetic, as well as kind of the nostalgic kind of aesthetic behind my wandering through the lens.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
Starting to think of shots I should have gotten.
Welcome to the final judging. This is where the final 2 images will be revealed and where our judges, Mateus, Denver, and Julian, will decide who wins the first season of The Frame. Now it's time for the images. Image 1 was captured by Nicole. Nicole, can you tell us a little bit about your image?
Yes, whenever I was in the middle of the park, I was walking and quite literally this caught my attention. So I shot through the tree and caught the water spout through, and it kind of just screams my cottagecore for my whole vibe. So I just loved it.
I love that. Thank you so much. Well done.
Thank you.
Image 2 was captured by Karina. Karina, can you tell us a bit more about your image?
So like Nicole, that was the first thing that caught my eye when I got there. And I just kind of played off of that the best way that I could. And that's what I got.
Good job, ladies. You did amazing. We are now going to have you step back and we're going to have the judges discuss the images.
I just wanted to shine a light on Joplin. I don't know, it's like a love letter to me, or from me to Joplin.
Whenever I saw it, I knew that I needed to take the picture. Just because the framing of the picture kind of lined up so well with the faucet, to pass up even taking the picture, even if I wouldn't have used it, would have been kind of dumb, for lack of better terms, of me. So even just if it's not the winning picture, it's still a really good shot that kind of screams what this whole thing was.
Yeah, that first image captured by Nicole, I just want to point out that I do really like the color grading in that. I think that's the orange mixed with the green. There's always a beautiful mix of colors to me. And like I said, I don't entirely want to focus on that, but I do want to point that out before. And it just caught my eye right off the bat.
I would definitely agree with in terms of colors. The color in that one is very interesting. It makes it pop a lot. The green up top with the brown at the bottom makes the orange kind of give a nice centerpiece. What I like about the second image is how it kind of seems to have like a focus in terms of like what it could represent. Obviously it's the heart that says Joplin in the middle of it. It could just be a good representation and I'm saying like I love Joplin or whatever. So it's like nice to capture the water spouts in motion just to capture that frame and like such a timing, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that first picture by Nicole, I love the coloring on it. Like y'all say, that orange really does just pop out, and I like how she used focus on it. So you know how like the trees and leaves are kind of like a little more blurry. Like
I think these different images, they kind of go about their own way of framing the centerpiece, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
The image on the left, it uses color to frame it. So it has a focus. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The top color, bottom color, focus, background, foreground, all that. But the second image, it has a direct focus of like where the centerpiece, where the subject is, if that makes sense. So first one, it centers the color. Second one, it centers the subject.
I think that just kind of brings out the different interpretation from each person.
Yeah.
You know, the different interpretation of the concept you're going for here.
It's tough because I think both of them really nailed what the concept should be, and like we're saying, it's just a very different, unique way that they did nail that concept. And having like, I think I appreciate the fact that she framed the subject she wants to frame, Corinna on the second image, with active motion. Because that's water that's actively being, shot out of that well. So that's pretty cool. I think that should deserve its props on its own because that's, it's more than just shooting a still image, and she captured it really well, having that main focus through the water that's actively moving.
Yeah,
I think.
definitely adds a degree of difficulty.
Yeah.
For one thing.
That second one is a little more framed since you got the water and leaves all around it. Doesn't catch my eye near as much as that first one. I love the different interpretations from each person. I love the different interpretation of the concept that we were going here.
I'd say honestly, that's one thing that's been great about this series as a whole is like there hasn't been a bad image. Everybody's kind of had their own interpretations and different ways of kind of doing it. So it kind of just makes it super hard every time.
It really does.
Have you guys come to a conclusion?
Lord.
I guess we should come to
Yeah.
I don't know on this one.
What it would mean to me to win the frame would be that I put my all into this. I put a lot of energy and kind of, I don't know, hopeful thinking into this, into growing as a person and a photographer. So I think it would mean that I did exactly meet that goal, and then some. So even if I didn't, it would also mean that because then I put myself out there. So
To win this would just show me that I'm doing what I need to do as a photographer and learning and growing the way that I need to learn and grow through it. But also, even if I didn't win, I'm still learning, I'm still growing. I just would have more to work on.
This was not an easy decision, and it was also not unanimous. There was some controversy and some discussions going on, but the winner of the frame is Corinna.
Yeah, it's tough, man. It's been the whole way through. It's been very tough. We kind of had some back and forth, a little bit of uneven answers. Both beautiful images. We kind of agreed that Nicole, your image in terms of like visual intrigue and kind of drawing the eye in, you had a very beautiful, visually pleasing image. And that's one factor of it. And then, which that's kind of the point you made. It's like it really drew you in.
So, sometimes you gotta actually stick with the concept though, and that's something I have an issue with is choosing the concept over like the
Over what's visually more appealing to your eye.
Right.
Yeah.
So like in terms of just purely hitting the concept and like getting the intention of it, Corinna, that's kind of why we just decided you. It's like the focus on what the subject was. It has like attention. You had the degree of difficulty added with the timing of the water spouts, if that makes sense. So it's kind of it added a little focus to it, but the color contrast you had was beautiful. So it's like it was a very visually intriguing image. You guys are both very talented photographers.
I think to add on to that, I know I've judged a few that Nicole has won in the past in previous episodes, and we've always kind of slightly leaned over to Nicole and gave her the win. On this one, it was really difficult, and one of the things that we did narrow down to was the fact that, like he just said, the added difficulty to use like a live motion and the water actually moving and having that as like your main source of focus to frame your heart in the back was ultimately, I think, what kind of leaned us towards that, like pushed over to Corinna.
Now, I would like to know how you guys feel.
I'm in shock. I feel like I say that a lot, but this was really fun, and I'm just grateful for it, honestly. So
I'm proud of you both. You guys did so good.
Thank you.
I would like to know how you feel throughout this experience.
Grateful as well. It was a really good experience to get to know some new faces and everything and put my name out there. So I'm really grateful about the whole experience. So.